Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Naiz Podcast. Finally, we have the first episode in English. And thank you very much, Alberto, for being here. How are you?
Very good. No, and thank you for having us. So no, it's great to be here.
That's great. For the ones that you might not know, we are knitters. It's an amazing company that they bring back knitting to the fashion and like made it for everybody. So that's why we wanted to interview them. And who better than Alberto, one of the co-founders and the guy in charge of all the communication and the magic stuff we're gonna talk about it. But first of all, I always like to go deep and dive a bit on your LinkedIn, and I
Okay.
saw that you were kind of like more like advising and this kind of more technical things that were not really related into fashion. How did you get there?
Yeah, no. So basically, before we started, we are knitters. We worked in consulting or finance, and we used to work for PwC. So it's one of these big four companies, and it was kind of like a completely different job. My hair was short. I had no beard. I was wearing a suit.
Oh my
So
God.
whenever I see a photo of mine, like from years ago, I always say like, okay, I'm like a good wine, that it's getting better with age. But
I
yeah,
think that we're all like that.
I hope so. Yeah, yeah. No, but the thing is that basically we met Pepita and myself in PwC. We became friends, and we were talking, and both of us wanted to entrepreneur. We loved fashion, but we saw like creating a company like something that we would do, like in the future, when we were older, or I don't know, when we had the money or whatever. But the thing is that we then went to New York to visit a friend that was living there, and we saw that knitting was actually like a very big trend in the US. I'm talking about like 2010 or 20, like 2009 or something like that. So a long time ago. And the thing is that that was before, like Facebook was starting. I think that Instagram didn't even exist,
I don't
so
think so.
I don't think so. And the thing is that trends used to take longer to get to other places, like because now everything is super instant, of course. But back in the day, like if something was very trendy, I don't know, in New York, it would take maybe 2, 3 years to get to Europe. So when we saw that, we said, okay, so maybe something is going on here, because we saw people knitting in the subway, people knitting in cafeterias. They had like these beautiful yarn stores, for example, in Soho. So the things that when we came back to Madrid, it was quite the opposite. Like stores were not beautiful at all. Like the patterns they were offering, they were like very old school. And it was not very attractive. Let's put it that way. So the thing is that we, started to do some research, and we saw that it was actually like a very big niche, and we said, well, let's give it a try, because we were not knitters at all, so we didn't know how to knit. We don't have like this beautiful story, of our grandma teaching us how to knit in front of the fireplace. No, it's not the case.
No, that's
So,
crazy actually. When I read that you guys were not usual knitters, it was like, wow, that's really like vision, and seeing like identifying something that might be cool and just go for it. That's
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah. Actually, we learned how to knit with video tutorials we found on YouTube, because YouTube
Whoa.
already existed. We are
Yeah.
not that old. So
Luckily, it was already there.
yeah, so the thing is that we learned how to knit, and we thought, okay, so if we were able to learn how to knit, maybe some other people will be able to. So we developed much more the idea. We did like much bigger research, and we presented the idea to our former university. And they had like this little prize for entrepreneurial ideas. So we won the second prize, not the first one. And
Almost.
almost. But with that little amount of money, that I think that it was like around 10K euros or something like that, we established the company. We did like the first order of wool, everything, and yeah, that's how we started, So it was like very, I guess that it was very naive, from our side, that we never imagined that we would be making like a very big company, and hiring people and all that stuff. It was more like, okay, let's have some fun, let's see what happens, and yeah.
And just go for it. That's cool. I think that it's the best way to start something. Just because you really love it, you like it, and you want to give it a try.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
definitely.
when you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
fun. Actually, you mentioned something that being in marketing, you almost kind of assume that, but it's true that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook. So any
yeah.
kind of trends, it was like really hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we launched the company, because that was when we had the
Started
idea,
idea.
but after like a year and a half or so, Facebook was already like quite established. We launched the brand in 2011, and the thing is that, yeah, by then Facebook was already quite big, So, but the thing is that it was like the good old days of social media, where everything was organic. You
Yeah.
didn't have to pay, to appear in people's,
Feeds
wall and
and
everything. So that, yeah, basically we first started with that, and I remember that the things that we started here in Spain, because we're Spanish, and it was like the natural thing to do. But it's not the best country or market to start a yarn company. So the thing is
yeah,
that,
maybe.
yeah, because I mean, yeah, now here in January, yeah, it's super cold, but in 2 3 weeks it's going to be a spring, basically. So
Yeah.
the thing is that we very rapidly started to have like organic orders from other places, and the country that had the most was Germany. So we, at some point, we hired a PR agency and everything, and I remember doing like the very first press event we did with them, that it was late 2012, I remember. And I remember that the girl that was in charge of our account, she was like, during the event, she was like, oh, you should open an account in this new thing that is called Instagram. All the cool people has it, so you should have it too. Na na na. And we were like, but who uses that, like, everybody's on Facebook, and but I mean, we listened to her. We opened an Instagram account, and like, now, for example, that we have like a very big community on social media. A lot of people ask us, like, hey, how did you do it? Na na na. How did you amass that very big amount of people? And the things that, I mean, we were like one of the first, and we were there, like 24/7, like every day of the year, from January 1st to December 31st, and yeah, I guess that, after time and everything, it was good to. I mean, the thing is that we took advantage of the novelty of social media, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Because you have a really big and also committed community. It's not just that you have followers, they're committed, they have hashtag WAG and all these little cool things. So how was it? How was the feeling of seeing it grow?
No, it was very satisfying, because the thing is that meeting, we always say that we don't sell a product but an experience. That sounds very marketing, but it's true. It's true, because the thing is that we don't compete with, I don't know, any fashion brand that you may know. We compete with going to the cinema, or going for a run, or going to the gym. So it's like free time. It's a hobby. So the thing is that, since we are not used to make things with our hands anymore, like, uh, there are days that I even don't write, that I'm just
Yeah,
like, like, clicking in
just
the
or even
computer,
typing or
or
sending
yeah,
audios to yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the thing is that we are not used to make things with our hands anymore, and when you realize that you can make, like, in this case, a garment, that you can wear or you can gift to someone or whatever, the feeling, the self, how do you say, like, yeah, the satisfying feeling that you get, it's so big that the first thing you do is to post it on Instagram. You take a picture and you say like, "Hey, look at what I did." No, no, no. So the thing is that a lot of people, I guess that I don't know. Imagine yourself, that you're needing something or whatever. If you post it on Instagram, there might be people that follows you. I don't know, your family, your friends, or whoever that might see it and say, "Okay, if she was able to do it, probably I will be able to do it too." You know. So
And
I
it
guess
also
that
has another effect, because actually, well, guys, you might not know it, but I'm doing my own sweater with We Are Knitters. I'm gonna send you all my picture with it when I finish.
is,
It's
yeah.
actually relaxing. I have to say that it's relaxing and
That's
addictive.
it. That's it. That's it.
But you know what? It has a bad point that now every one of my friends, they're asking, "Oh, when you finish yours, can you do me a one? Can I have a
That's
scarf? Can
like
I have a?" It's like, come
that's
on.
the knitters scene. That everybody is like, oh, then I'm next in the line. You should make me a scarf or whatever. And it's like, well, like do it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I really do recommend it. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
having
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, and the thing is that also, like, continuing a little bit with what I was telling you, is that I guess that also we gave like a lot of importance to social media. So like the hashtags that you mentioned and everything, they are like all over the pattern. In the packaging, it's like hashtag we are knitters. So now, like, we've been encouraging people to post on social since day one. So I guess that has make that I don't know, that it can be risky, because the community is so passionate that for the good and the bad, they are very passionate. So
Yeah.
when we do something that they love, it's awesome. But when we do something that they don't, I mean, it's quite an experience. So yeah, the thing is that they are. I mean, we also say that they are not followers; they are more kind of like supporters, of the brand.
That's cool. Yeah, actually, one of the questions was like the packaging. The packaging is super created. You have the little name on the needles, and also these little like stickers and the small needles. So I think that it's a really, really great package. It was the aim since the very beginning to have like a special package, or it just came with the years.
So basically, it hasn't changed. I would say that what we launched 12 years ago is 95% the same as it is today.
Wow.
We did it with PowerPoint, Pepita and myself, that we were not graphic designers at all. We did everything like very, very lean. And the thing is that, yeah, it was kind of like the inspiration was kind of like these paper bags that you get like in grocery stores in the US,
Yeah.
that you everything, and like you get the ingredients to then cook something or whatever. So these were kind of like the ingredients, to make a garment. So that was quite the
The
inspo.
idea.
But basically, I mean, it's very, people say that sometimes they tell us, like, oh, but the packaging, is like so, like, yeah, like basic but beautiful, and like very minimalist. And they think that we hire like this super giant designer studio or whatever, and it was just the two of us, with a PowerPoint.
Like,
Basically.
no, what we can do, what we can put in
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. It was kind of, I mean, it was minimalistic because I guess that we couldn't do anything more sophisticated.
Yeah, but
But
I think it's really good actually. I really liked it. I didn't
thank
know the how is the packaging and so on. It was like, oh wow, oh stickers, oh this, oh nice.
Yeah, we I mean, with time, like the stickers, for example, that was not in the beginning. Then, for example, the also the packaging of the needles has changed, because we used to use plastic, that we don't use it anymore.
Yeah,
So like we've been, of course, trying to improve the experience, with time, because I mean, we consider ourselves to be a very a sustainable brand, or at least we try to be as sustainable as possible, so that needs to be reflected also, like in the packaging, of course. So
And regarding sustainability and all the like product itself, how was the process of seeking for providers and for yeah, actually like wool producers or
So basically, we first started with this supplier from Uruguay that we placed this first order. Everything was great, but then we placed a second one, and he disappeared with the money and never heard back from him ever again.
wow.
So the thing is that well, in this case, it was Pepita. I remember that she's like very good, like at searching stuff, and she found like these suppliers in Peru that looked like way more professional than this Uruguayan guy. Like it was like a proper company, that you could feel that they were like something else, So since then, we've been working with them, and we have visited the installations, the facilities and everything quite a few times, and we were like pretty satisfied. They have like these certifications, and we've seen how they treat the animals, like how's the process. Of course, there's like an industrial part of it, because wool, needs to be treated, needs to be washed, needs to be
Yeah.
brushed. So of course, I mean, since these companies are quite big, I mean, they cannot do it. I mean, they need like to have like machines, to do
Yeah.
this in.
Yeah, no, it's not like one farmer just by itself, of
No,
course.
no, no. I mean, that's nice, but the thing is that because of the volumes that I mean, at the very beginning, our volumes, of course, were small, but we had in mind to grow,
To grow.
so we needed to have like a supplier that could fulfill, our needs, basically. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is that the yarn is 100% yarn. We don't use any acrylic. That's something that we've always, like had in mind. And the only thing is that the dyings are not natural, but they are, how do you say, biodegradable? Is that a word? Well, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. If not, we're gonna say put
I
something
think
a
it
tag
is.
or
So the thing is that they are done in Switzerland, so they are like with very good technology and everything. So the thing is that some colors are impossible to recreate with natural
with
things,
natural, yeah.
like flowers or whatever, So you need chemicals, at some point. So, but yeah, they are like, they're not natural, but they are like, like they're not damaging nature, let's say.
Great. And
So.
and we're talking like in a really, really fashion oriented stuff. Are the
Mhm.
trends the same in finished garments or they change in between the normal or like more usual, let's say, trends in yarn and like in knitting and in finished garment?
I mean, we always say that we are not trendsetters at all. We are not trying to, reinvent fashion or trends, nothing at all. We are, let's say, really good at detecting trends. We kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say that we are cool hunters because, I mean, that's like a big word, but we are good at detecting, okay, so this is trendy, this is not, So, and we are pretty fast at adapting, these trends into a kit. So the thing is that probably a lot of people, I guess, that started knitting with us because the designs that we were offering were fashionable. Of course, we have like basic stuff, like mostly for beginners, but even for them, we have like very trendy stuff, and of course, there are like we have like our own trends, in the knitting world, of course,
Hmm.
uh, that I don't know other companies, or now there are like a lot of big makers on social media, for example, that they do their own patterns, and that of course influences the market for sure, and but I would say that, I mean, I don't think it's that different, like the knitting fashion or the wool fashion to the regular one that we can see in stores. I mean, of course, there's much you can do with wool, because I mean, depending on the weight and everything. For example, our chunky wool that is very characteristic of from us. I mean, there's some details that you cannot do, So I mean, you have like a limit, to create
On the
this,
same,
yeah, or figures or whatever, but yeah, I mean, things that I'd say that even chunky knits itself are trendy, I mean, they've been
yeah.
for a few years already, and a lot of people love that, but there's also like other people that they said, hey, I love to knit with your kids, but I mean, I'm a big person, and if I put a big sweater, I look even bigger or whatever, so that's why bit by bit we've been launching like different fibers, like thinner ones or different qualities, or you know so that more people could, like find what they were looking for, basically.
That's super interesting. And talking about patterns, because most of the people, there's a lot of people who loves fashion, of course, but not everybody knows what a pattern is. And trying to recreate a pattern for beginners, how was it? How was the process? Did you get some help or?
Pues mira, basically, the thing is that when we first started, we, bought like all these knitting magazines and everything. And the thing is that probably most people don't know, but knitting has like their own language, so it's like K1, P2, K3, no, no, no. It's like a lot of letters and numbers, that if you're not familiar with it, it's like reading, I don't know, like old Egyptian, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the thing is that we said, okay, we want to do something that us as customers could use, So that's why our patterns are written, like with just the letters explaining everything, like very step by step, very easy to follow, because we wanted, that if us were the customers, we will be able, to basically make it, and that we could read the pattern. That was something that, I mean, it was quite difficult for us, at the very beginning. So yeah, but basically, yeah, the pattern are the instructions. We of course have like some figures and some how to say, like drawings and everything, so that people, and schemes, so that people can, follow the instructions and see how the final garment looks like, basically.
And actually, what I found really, really, really useful, you don't know how much, are all the videos that you have. It's amazing the channeling on YouTube that you have, because actually sometimes you have two different videos on the same kind of knit. So it always helps to see, okay, maybe which was it? Okay, let's check again. So I kind of loop watching some videos because it really helps. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah. No, and all the patterns, for example, they are, like all the techniques that you need to use are written down, so that if you don't know, for example, I don't know, like for a real beginner, that maybe, the first step is you need to cast on, I don't know, 15 stitches, so maybe you don't know what to cast on is.
yeah, actually, there's a lot of like different namings, like you were saying, cast on, and all these different kind of knits that might be tricky. And you have all these videos on YouTube that really helps. Even though, do you receive like a lot of questions regarding, I don't know, the techniques or how to choose the sizes or this kind of, whoa, I'm scared, I don't know where to start with?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, we get a lot of questions because, I mean, it's true that, I mean, for us, it's our day to day, but for a lot of people, I mean, they know nothing about knitting. They don't know how to pick up the needles. So, of course, we get like a lot of, yeah, inquiries to our customer service, But the thing is that bit by bit, our customer service, I would say, the customer service team is pretty good, and they've created like this giant database, with a lot of questions that you can always search, So the thing is that a lot of questions that people may have, they're already answered.
it's really good to have a great database because this way you can self-resolve some questions and automatically create like marketing action or marketing messages pre-solving, no, this kind of issues or
Of course.
questions.
I mean, and for them, in order to reduce the amount of tickets that we receive, uh, that's marvelous. It's the best thing that could ever happen to us, because now people can search for their question. I mean, of course, if it's not there or whatever, or they want a more personalized, treatment, they can always send us an email or reach us through our chat or whatever, and they will get it for sure. But sometimes, if it's something that is very generic, it will be faster for them, to search for the answer in this database that we have. But yeah, basically, I mean, a lot of people, yeah, have like, hey, what can I do with one skin? Or hey, I somebody gifted to me like three skins. What can I do? Or hey, I want to make this sweater, but I don't know if I need five or six. So for that cases, we have like these kind of charts that explain to you like, hey, so if you measure like this, then use this amount of yarn, or if you're this size, then go for that. So yeah, the things that with time for sure and experience, makes you wiser. So I guess that we try to solve all these little doubts that people may have.
Yeah, but actually, I think that it's super like clever and great from your side to build stuff on customers' real needs. That sometimes fashion is kind of detached. It's more like a push. We propose, we introduce you this garment, this trend, and you have to buy it or not. But listening directly to the customers, it's great because you always are getting offering them what they really need, what they really want.
Yeah, no, we have like this example that I always tell, that it was like at the very beginning that we had the kits, that had the yarn, the needles, and the pattern. And then we started to receive, after 2, 3 months, uh, quite a few emails of people like, hey, I love what you do. I've bought from you guys like 2, 3 times, but the things that I'm starting to collect knitting needles at my place, and I don't really need them because I already have. So
Yeah.
that thing that sounds super basic and super silly, we hadn't thought about it, so to have the no needles option. So of course now we have the no needles option, so that if you had already bought from us, or if you have other needles at home, from other brand or whatever, of course you can, I mean, use them,
Yeah.
so, but that's something that we hadn't realized, and it was because of the customers' feedback that we said, okay, they're right, so, and like this story, we have, I don't know, 100, so it's always good, because sometimes companies, they externalize the customer service like the first thing, because it's true that is a very demanding,
It's time
thing.
consuming.
It's time consuming. Let's put it that way. And the thing is that for us, it's very important because it gives us a lot of feedback, a lot.
Yeah.
And in our case, that, as you said, that it's a very specific activity, it's not like, I don't know, you buy a pair of sunglasses, you wear them, that's it, you don't have any doubt of how that works,
No,
but
you put them on top and that's it, done.
and that's it, but in this case with the product, a lot of doubts can arise, while practicing it. So yeah,
And have you ever thought about introducing finished garments, like having parts of your collection that could be offered already done?
that's the $1 million question. A lot of people has told us like, hey, when are you planning to launch that? Like, I love what you do, but I just don't have the time or the patience to make it myself. The thing is that that's like another business, that's fashion, because you then have stock, you have colors, you have sizes, and for us, the good thing about our business model is that the very same skein of yarn can be used for a scarf, a sweater, a beanie, a cardigan, or whatever,
Yeah.
And the thing is that, I don't know, and I guess that the client is different, because we are very specialized on people that really want to try something new, that they like to do stuff with their hands, that that they are searching for an activity, basically, and this other business would be fashion. We would start competing with any fashion brand, that you can think, and I don't know if we have the strength, to do that, to be honest.
You know what? I think that it would be like cutting out all the fun.
Basically, yeah, so I don't know, and we actually did like this little survey, but it's true that it was maybe not the right audience because we did it to our customers, and of course most of them said, no, I don't want the pre-made pieces, I want to make it myself, but of course, I mean, since it was our audience, they are more willing to make it themselves, but
Mm,
I mean, whatever. I don't know. Maybe in the future, I don't know, but I don't see it in the short term, to be honest.
that's great. Um, we could say, actually, I could say you. Maybe it would be weird if you say it, but you created the market. Actually, you saw something and you created a market or a new need in the market. Because I'm sure that since the beginning, from until now, it has grown the interest in Spain, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, when we started, for example, like people were saying like, oh, but so I need to pay the amount for of money and then I have to make it myself, and it's like, well, that's the thing, like, yeah,
That's actually the thing of knitting.
yeah, you have to, and now I guess that with time, people, like, I guess that it's true that knitting, it's like everywhere. I don't know, maybe it's because I work in knitting that I see it everywhere, but I guess that you can see it in movies, in TV shows, in, like these giant celebrities, they are like posting pictures of themselves knitting and everything. And as you said previously, it's a very relaxing thing. So I guess that a lot of people just don't knit because they want a red scarf, because they can go to, I don't know, H&M,
Whatever.
Zara, whatever, and have it for 20 euros, but they're looking for something else, and some people, I don't know, some people relax doing yoga, some people relax painting, and some people relax by knitting,
Yeah.
so I guess that, I don't know. I guess that people bit by bit are realizing the benefits of it. There's people that call it the 21st century yoga, and in some other countries, for example, in the US or Germany or France, or I mean, in the Nordics, Norway, Denmark, I mean, they're very used to make things with their own hands, like for
Mm.
example, there are studies that say that around 50 million people in the US know how to knit, so
Wow.
that's more than the population of Spain,
Yeah.
and for example, in Norway, 95% of the population knows how to knit, so
Wow.
as a total, it's not that big because Norway is not that populated, but as a percentage, is crazy, But the
Yeah.
thing is that because, like over there, sunset is so early and it's so cold during the winter time that
Yeah.
there's
That you
no,
just don't go out.
yeah. I mean, people just don't go for, to the bar or to a terrace or like we can do here in Spain, So, like life is very, very different in these countries. So, yeah, I guess that. But having said that, I mean, I wouldn't say that we created the market. I would say that it was like a mix of different things, but probably we had like a little role in that for sure.
You awoke the market.
A little, yeah.
No, actually, it was fun because when I started knitting my project, I was talking to a friend that I already knew that she knitted, and she was talking about all this. No, but you know what? When I was in UK, we got these meetings in with you could like meet people, and all of them were knitting, so you could help each other if you get stuck or if you don't know how to do something. And I was like, wow,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of like things
No,
around it that you wouldn't think.
yeah, no, that's something that we've been doing for years now that we call them knitting parties. And they are like these little, yeah, meetings with friends or not necessarily friends, that people will organize, that we had like this, uh, yeah, this area in the website that you could say like, kind of like an application, like, hey, I want to organize one of these parties and like you will get like a reduction, in the kits and everything, so that people could get it like a little bit cheaper, and it would be kind of like this Tupperware,
Yeah,
reunion.
it's like a knitting, tupper sex knitting
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
jam.
yeah, 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 yeah. Basically, and some people call it knitting and bitching, and some
I love it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And some people, like for example, at the very beginning, we used to do like these knitting parties with gin tonics, So the thing is that it's true. I mean, what I'm gonna say might sound a little bit weird, but it's true that with a little bit of alcohol, everything is easier.
Yes, yes. You don't get like, no, but it's not perfect. No, come on,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool, it's
You just
okay.
relax, and you go with the flow, and it's easier. So the thing is that, yeah, I mean, people at the end, people think that knitting is something that you do by yourself, by your own, at home, alone, and it doesn't have to. Like you can meet people with interests. That we've seen people becoming friends out of these parties. And because they share like this passion. Because some people are very very passionate about knitting, and for them it's kind of like a religion. So yeah, yeah, no, they love it.
That's cool. I will take note about the knitting and bitching. I loved it. So, it all started in a trip in New York, from the sofa almost, and then now you have warehouses in different countries. How was it? How was raising, the raising process? Because I read around that you raised 1 million euro at one moment of the story. How was the process? How you decided, okay, now it's the time we need some extra push?
So basically, we started both of us like very lean, very organically. Like the first warehouse was at Pepita's parents' living room. Then my sister, she moved to Switzerland, and we moved the warehouse to her room, and yeah, it was like very, very organic, And at some point, I guess that it was when we had been running the business for a year and a half or so, that we, realized that, yeah, we were growing, everything was, like working well and everything, but we had like this conversation between the two of us, like saying like, hey, what do we want to do? Like grow organically, like bit by bit, like hire maybe one person, then maybe a second one in a few months, then a third one, or we want to go big, and grow this way faster, and I mean, it was like a no-brainer, and we decided to go for, with the second one. So the things that we didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, and we had to search like for, like what is a business angel, because we didn't know what was it, and uh,
VA, VC.
it was like, what is this, So the thing is that we started to watch like a lot of videos that we found online, about all these, yeah, business angels and VCs, and people that were investing, in like very young companies. And the thing is that, yeah, we met these people that were willing to, we kind of like convince them. And basically, to be honest, I mean, now, I mean, it feels natural, that they invested and everything. But back in the day, like 10 years ago, to be selling yarn on the internet,
And you
it's
were
some,
starting,
yeah,
and
it was like weird, and I remember going to, now is one of our main investors, and that we went to his office, and we, yeah, we came with the kit, and the yarn and everything, and he looked at us like, who let these guys coming, you
what are you
know,
guys doing here?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, he was kind of surprised by the figures that we were doing, and he was like, "Hey guys, like I usually, invest in very technological stuff. Yours has a physical side that I'm not used to. So if you're still alive in 1 year, come and visit me, and we will talk further. So that's what we did. That we had like this little homework, and we managed to do like all the figures that we were, supposed to make. And yeah, 1 year after, we went to see him, and he was like, "Well, I like I like very much the idea. Everything sounds perfect, but go and meet other people, to search for the funding and everything." So we met these two business angels, François Derbe and Jaguar Beloa, that they were like former entrepreneurs. They had like experience and everything, and they loved the idea. They believed in us, and they invested. So then this other guy from the VC, he was like, "Well, so if these guys invested, then I'm going to." So that's how we made like the first round. That I guess that at the moment it was like, I don't think it was even 200Ks. It was like a very small, like very seed.
Just a small push.
Yeah, very small, that we, basically spent on, like professionalizing a little bit the website, making it more sophisticated. We bought some supplies and everything, and yeah, that's how we started, and we of course hired like better people than us, in design, marketing, and yeah, at that moment we had the warehouse here in Madrid. The thing is that, as I told you before, we rapidly started to have orders from abroad. So at some point, for example, France and Germany were much bigger than Spain. So at that moment we said, okay, it doesn't make sense, to have yeah, the warehouse here in Spain anymore. So we ended up having it in Munich, in Germany. And after a few years, we decided to go to the US, to launch the brand in the US. That
Wow.
a lot of people thought that it was crazy, because when you said, okay, I want to go to the US, you think that you need like a lot of, like a very big budget, to spend on marketing or whatever. And the thing is that we said, okay, let's do what we've been doing in Spain, France, and Germany, and let's see how it goes. And we were shipping everything from Germany.
Wow.
So it was like a test that we did. But of course, it was on us because we were charging the customers as if we were in the US. So it was like a very small percentage of the real cost. But when we saw that it was working, we said, okay, so maybe we
Now is the
should
time.
go for it. So that's when we decided to open a warehouse in the US. That it was not dividing the warehouse, it was kind of like multiplying, because we had these projections that we will grow. So it was like we couldn't say like, okay, I'm gonna divide the stock that I have. No, it was like, okay, it was like a real investment,
Brand new stock.
yeah, everything. So basically, yeah, that's probably like the boldest thing that we had done until that moment, like to open a warehouse, because it had it gone grown, it could have been, I mean, I don't know if the end, but it could have been dangerous, for
Yeah.
the financial part of the company, so but it went well, and yeah, nowadays we have these two. We are changing the German one to another one in Germany, and I don't know, maybe I don't know if we grow farther, in the Nordics or something, maybe. I mean, I guess that we won't open like proper warehouses, but maybe like little hubs, maybe in
Yeah.
Nordics or in the UK, that with the Brexit is like a mess.
It's
You
yeah.
So yeah. I mean, that's another chapter, but
Yeah. Chapter UK.
okay, but basically, yeah, I mean, yeah, from Pepita's parents' living room, to have these two giant
To the
warehouses.
US. Well
No, it's
done.
quite a trip. Yeah,
And now with a physical shop in Madrid.
yeah.
How was
No,
that?
I mean, it's doing great. It's doing great. The thing is that we had like small experiences. We did like this little pop up in Paris right before the pandemic. for 3 weeks in December, right before Christmas, and it went very, very nice. And then last year, well, in 2021, we did 3 months in New York, and it was also pretty, pretty nice. So the thing is that we wanted to, this time to do like a proper store, not
Pop
an
up or
pop-up,
temporary.
yeah. So the thing is that from a business point of view, Madrid makes no sense because, as I told you, Spain is not our biggest market. Actually, it's our, I guess that depending on the month, but it can be sometimes maximum our seventh or so,
Wow.
So, yeah, yeah. I mean, for us, Australia is bigger than Spain. So it would make more
My
sense to open in
God.
Sydney, that opening in Madrid, but whatever, but the thing is that from a management point of view, it makes sense, because we took it as a test. It was like, okay, let's test it, and let's see how it works. If or we can, like the things that, first of all, when we opened the pop-up in New York, I mean, we had to plan the trip, like, okay, I'm going that week. I need to book the flights, go to a hotel, so it was kind of like a very, from a logistics point of view, quite a thing, but here in Madrid, the things that, I mean, our office is just like 10 minutes away, by taxi, not even that. So if anything happens, we can be there, like very rapidly. So, yeah, that's how we like see it. And the thing is that if this goes well, I mean, the plan is to open proper stores in our biggest markets, so first one will be probably London because of the Brexit, because we could probably ship some of the national
Yeah, you can
orders.
use it as a warehouse.
Kind of, yeah, so even though we could maybe not ship the
A
majority of
lot.
the
Yeah, but
order,
offer a click and collect.
a percentage of them for sure we could ship them, so the things that, yeah, that would be nice, and maybe Paris, I don't know, maybe Copenhagen, I don't know, we are still, uh, figuring out where to go next, but yeah,
Yeah,
Madrid
and
is not going to be the only one.
but also can, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm like always in looking like for the bright part and for the cool stuff, but it also can help, right? In order to bring like knitting a bit stronger in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
market,
yeah,
maybe.
no. For example, we've noticed that like visits to the website have increased since we opened the store in Madrid. Like visits in Spain. I mean,
Yeah.
that it kind of people are suddenly more interested. Like you get to get like more brand awareness. We are in Fuencarral, that is like one of the most,
Main,
if not the
yeah.
most commercial streets in Madrid. So the things that's true, that when you open a store, people always tell you like there are three rules, that is location, location, location. It's true. Because,
It's definitely true.
for example, in Paris and New York, we were like in very good areas. We were in Marais in Paris and in Nolita, well, Nolita Soho in New York. But the thing is that we were like in secondary streets, so we didn't have the
The
traffic
traffic.
that, for example, we have here in Madrid, So when we were looking for a space, we said, okay, whatever, but we need to be in this
Location.
street,
Yeah.
so we cannot be in the parallel, or we cannot be in the next to street. No, no, no. We need to be in the main street, where everybody is. And it's true that if you go to this street, like on a Saturday afternoon, or for example, like December, I mean, it's kind of like, like, I don't know,
Loads.
yeah, fruits and fruits of people, so I guess that it's very important. Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Next time I'm in Madrid, I'll definitely go.
No, you have to come. Yeah, yeah, of course.
Definitely. I'm so curious to see it. So, well, I would be like here hours and hours, but I don't want to like steal all the afternoon from you. And so we're gonna go into the last five questions that are the surprise questions of our podcast.
All
They're
right.
Yeah, they're really easy. No wor Well, some of them are easy. They're not tricky, but
Okay.
we always leave them as a surprise, so
Okay.
they're supernatural. So first one is, which is your favorite moment in the history of fashion?
Oof, I don't know. I'm a really big fan of the mm, Tom 4 years of Gucci. You know, like late 90s, early
Yeah,
2000s. I'm a big fan of that.
that's a great
You know,
moment,
like very
definitely.
sexy, but like very well done. I love it.
Exactly. Sex and stylish.
Yeah.
And which is your favorite garment?
From We Are Knitters or in
From
general?
like, no, Alberto, when you go out for shopping, what's the product that you always just like first look at it, or you have the most?
I mean, I have like probably, I mean, after the pandemic, I gotta say that I have reduced a lot of my consumption of fashion. I don't know, but I guess that probably sweaters and coats. You know, I love that, and well, and shoes. Yeah, shoes too. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a problem with shoes. Definitely a huge one.
So yeah, I said three things, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I couldn't just say one. I would say like sweaters and shoes probably. Yeah. And snowboarding things, but that's not a thing.
Okay.
Which book would you recommend? It could be from fashion or just any book that you like or you liked or what you're reading.
I mean, it depends. You know, like for example. For entrepreneurship, you know, I used to love, but I mean, probably it's a little bit old now, but I used to love this book that the founder of Tom's, you know, the shoes, you
Yeah,
know, he wrote a book, you know, about his experience and everything, and we got like a lot of ideas, you know, through that book, you know. So, but I mean, I was going to say, if you're thinking about entrepreneur, maybe that's a good one to start, but maybe it's a little bit obsolete, you know, because it was like 10 years ago. So maybe, but I mean, I loved it. And I don't know, as a novel, I mean, it's been a while since I've read a novel, but I guess that the last one that, I mean, this is going to sound like extremely corny, but I loved Eat, Pray, Love, I guess. It's much better than the movie, I gotta say, and I loved it. You know, like at some point I was like, you know, whenever We Are Neither finishes, I'm gonna go to Rome. You know, then I will go to India, and then I will end up, you know, in Bali. You know, living my best life. No, but it
sounds
was kind
like
of
a
like
plan.
it's a corny book, I gotta say, but it's true that it has like these two, three ideas that I really loved. So.
That's great. And do
Uh,
you have a favorite quote?
a favorite quote, carpe diem. But I mean, I say to myself every day, you know, like, you know, and I guess that since now I mean, not that I'm getting older, but, you know, like also people around me are getting older. And, you know, you see people that are getting sick suddenly or whatever. And that, you know, because you think that you're going to be healthy and beautiful or whatever, you know, for the rest of your life, and the things that you want, you know, and you're in your day-to-day life, and suddenly, for whatever reason, they give you a
Bad
bad news,
news.
you know, and your life changes. You know, I was like, for example, like 3 or 4 years ago, I got very sick of the stomach because you know, they didn't know what I had, you know, and I had like all these super, you know, tests, you know, I had to be hospitalized. I lost more than 10 kilos, you know, I was like,
Wow.
you know, I'm already quite thin, but
Yeah,
imagine
you're saying.
without 10 kilos, you know, so you
Wow.
know, you know, and I had to be in bed, you know, like for more than a month, you know, and it was kind of like horrible. And at the end, it was a bacteria that they didn't saw, you know, because I was in Mexico or whatever. And the thing is
Yeah.
that, I mean, with some antibiotics, I was perfectly fine, you know, but the thing is that I realized how important is to be healthy, you know. So
Yeah.
in that moment, you know, and for sure after the pandemic, you know, I sometimes used to stay home or whatever, you know, on a Friday night that I was tired or whatever. Now I never say no to anything, you know, like
Just go for
whoever
it.
also can say, hey, let's go for a drink, let's go for dinner, hey, let's do this trip, na na na. I'm always yes, yes, yes. Like it's like, okay, I'm not gonna miss it because you never know. Like maybe tomorrow you're crossing the street and something happens and you're gone. So yeah, carpe diem.
Carpe diem, I like it.
Yeah, yeah, total.
And well, I have an extra question. Do you still knit?
Well, I mean, I know how to knit, but it's not something that's the second $1 million question. But no, but it's true that, I mean, since we are surrounded by wool every day, like seeing the website, the figures, everything, whenever I have some spare time, I try to do other stuff, like I'm very into sports, and to ceramics and everything. So, I mean, I know how to knit. For example, during the pandemic, I started to knit again, because I was so bored at home, that I picked up the needles and I did quite a few beanies actually for myself. But it's true that on a day-to-day basis, I don't do it. No, no. I don't know
And
if
the
I should
last,
say that, but
yeah.
whatever.
And the last question, who would you like to hear in this podcast? No limit. Well, limit is in the fashion industry, somehow related. But who would you like to hear?
Well, we have a very good relationship, well, with quite a few entrepreneurs. But for example, I don't know, I don't know. There's this brand that started a little bit later than us that is called Mint and Rose. They started with the spout reels, and the
Oh, wow.
founder, she's called Monty. She's very, very nice, and she has like a really good story because she lived in the U.S. and she kind of like made the spout drills big in the U.S. Again, and everything that here in Spain is like very traditional. So I guess that she has like a really good story too. And I don't know, maybe the guys from Blue Banana or the Nude Project, that they're like these super young guys, I think
Yeah,
they're like 24, 25, I don't know, and they're killing it. And I
they're
mean,
definitely killing it. I just see new
Foncarral,
project already.
yeah, yeah. So, and you see the X, everywhere.
But-
So
but-
I guess that, like for young people and everything, they will be like very inspiring too. So, yeah.
Okay, noted. I'll look for them. And if I need some help, I'll tell you. So thank you very much, Alberto. It's been a pleasure.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
what else I can say? I'll send you a picture when I finish my jersey.
Yeah, please, 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 yeah. No, no, pues
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for having us. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao.